Good morning, students. Today, let us start our class with the lesson Born for Life. It is written by Helen Keller. This is her life story, okay? And this story is taken from the story of my life, okay? Helen Keller was born on 27th June 1880 in Alabama in United States and died on 1st June 1968. Helen Keller lost her eyesight and hearing after a mysterious fever struck her when she was 19 months old. As she grew older, Helen felt a burning desire to speak. Means she wanted to speak. But she couldn't speak, so she became stubborn and wild. Fortunately, her parents came to know about the Perkins Institute for the Blind. Okay, then, which set the 20-year-old Annie Sullivan to instruct Helen at her home. Okay, she started to teach her. This chapter is about Annie's arrival at home and how from then on everything acquired a new meaning in Helen Keller's life. In this story, she says that the most important day she remembers in her life is the one on which her teacher Annie Sullivan came to her. And she says it was the 3rd of March 1887. Okay, and 3 months before she was 7 years old. She was blind and deaf and she couldn't know what was going on 3rd March at her home. Why? Because her mother was moving hurriedly from here and there and she was doing something very speedily. So Helen Keller understood that someone was going to visit her home. So she went to the door and waited on the steps. Her fingers lingered almost unconsciously on the familiar leaves and blossoms, which had just come forth to greet the sweet southern spring. Okay, the spring season was going to start, and there were so many kinds of flowers at her home. She was very eager to see these flowers and the colors and to hear the voice of her parents, friends, etc. So she used to tell, "Light, give me light." Okay, that was the wordless cry of her soul. And the light of love shone on her in that very hour. She felt approaching footsteps. She stretched out her hand as she supposed to her mother. But what happened? Someone took it and she was caught up and held close in the arms of her who had come to reveal all this to her and more than all things else to love her. Who was that? That was her teacher, new teacher, 20 years old lady Annie Sullivan was that. Okay. Yesterday morning, her teacher Annie gave her a little doll. The little blind children at the Perkins Institution had sent it, and Laura Brickman had dressed it. Okay, but she didn't know this until afterwards. Okay, and when she had played with a little while, Miss Sullivan slowly felt into her hand the word doll, means the spelling DOLL. Okay, and she was at once interested in this finger play. She didn't know that her teacher was writing the spelling of that doll. Okay, because she didn't know anything. Okay, and tried to imitate it. She thought that it was a kind of finger play and she tried to imitate it. At last, she finally succeeded in making the letters correctly. and she was flushed with the childish pleasure and pride. Okay, and she was running downstairs to her mother's. She held up her mother hand and made the letters for doll. Okay, but she didn't know that she was spelling a word or even that words existed. Okay, she was simply making her fingers go in monkey like imitation. Okay, she didn't know what she was writing, only she was imitating. Okay, then she learned to spell many spellings of the words like pin, hat, cup, to verbs like sit, stand, walk. Okay, her teacher had been with her several weeks before she understood that everything had a name. Okay, one day, while Helen Keller was playing with her new doll, Miss Alice Levin put a big rag doll into her lap, and after that she started to spell it. Alice Levin was trying to make understand her doll applied to both. Okay, the earlier one and the new one. Earlier in the day, they had played a tussle, okay, over the words mug and water. Now, what happened? Miss Sullivan tried to impress it upon the little Helen Keller. Okay, that mug is mug and water is water. But she couldn't able to understand it, and she became very angry. Okay, so what happened? She dropped the new doll into the floor. Means she dashed it upon the floor. After some time, Annie Sullivan brought Helen Keller's hat and put on her head. Okay. Then she came to know that they were going for outing. So she became very happy. That made her hop and skip with pleasure. They walked down the path to the well house, attracted by the fragrance of the honeysuckle with which it was covered. Okay, someone was drawing water, and her teacher placed her hand under the spout. As the cool stream gushed over one hand, she spelled into the other word water. Okay, first slowly, then rapidly. Then what happened? Slowly she came to know that those all were the words. Okay? And she knew then that water meant the wonderful cool something that was flowing over her hand. That living word awakened her soul, gave it light, hope, joy, and set it free. She returned home very happily because she came to know that those all were the words. Okay, and she was very happy. And after reaching her home, she learned many more words. Okay, and she was not able to say all the words, but she remembers the words, including in those words were father, mother, sister, teacher, etc. Okay. Students, it was the starting of Helen Keller's real life, and after that she learned everything. She learned how to learn the spelling, how to read the words, how to talk, everything. After that she became the teacher of blind children. She was a successful lady in her life. Students, hope you have understood the summary of this chapter, Born for Life. Let's end this section here. Thank you.